Oh, wow, look at this mess. Okay. What's going on, YouTube? It's Nate, Garage Guy, whatever you want to call me. I'm here at CPR Engines, my new home. Got a lot of exciting stuff going on. I'm going to be publishing a lot more content, and so stay with me here. But I want to show you some stuff going on here. So this is CPR Engines. We're located in Gardena, California. We also have another brand here called CHP. The shop is a mess right now because we've been doing all kind of organization, particularly around the dyno. So I've been here since May of 2020. Originally, I was supposed to come here, shoot videos, sort of be a Richard Holdner character with Martin here, the owner. But I quickly realized there was a bigger opportunity just based on what was going on here. It's a business that started off real simple and small. This used to be a race car shop for street racers, believe it or not. So while you see all this engine machining equipment here, that's some badass stuff like this Rottler machine right here, which is a CNC honing machine where we do torque plate hones on a multitude of different engine blocks. You know, we got the Sun and Line hone. We've got that Rottler CNC bore and deck, and then we've got that giant Haas machine. We got the valve grinding, that right there is for valve jobs on cylinder heads. We've got the resurfacing machine. We got a little valve grinder right here where we can put badass fucking back cuts. And then over here, you got the flow bench tethered to a computer, and it's all automated. We got a valve grinder over, head porting station over there. But one of the things that I did in looking at the business, as you know, I do cars. And so CPR Engines has long time been a supplier of short blocks for a lot of the higher performance applications I've been working on. But some things happened here that started to affect the performance of the business. Primarily, Tony, their longtime engine builder, who's a super badass, he suffered a stroke, unfortunately. And so Martin had to train up some new people. And, he's been working hard to get the production back to what it used to be. And then also with the COVID and everything like that, parts, supplies and stuff. So one of the changes I've made is if you look right here, this is all brand new inventory blocks. These are all new Dart blocks. We got small block Ford, both the short and tall deck. We've got the LS Next blocks in there. We've got some LS X blocks up there. We've got Concept Performance. And so what we've done is we've kind of gotten away from people dropping off engines. And when I got here, believe it or not, there were 80 open orders for engines. And 5 or 6 of those were for personal customers or mine. And I had been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Now, so there were things here that are creating some challenges for the business. But one thing that never came into question with respect to doing business with Martin was the integrity of the builds themselves. And so this is all reorganized since I started. This whole thing is gonna be inventory. A lot of those totes right now represent existing customer orders, and we have been clearing them out over time. Right here, more engine blocks. And so inside here, we've just got a plethora of Dart blocks. You can see there's an RHS, and that RHS right there is a tall deck, complete solid block, so it has no water passages. There's an LSX in a crate, and then a tall deck LSX. And you can see here, a lot of scat stuff, but I've kind of instituted a little shift. We're starting off with like Molnar power adder rods as sort of like the entry level on the Dart offerings. We got a lot of JE Ultra pistons coming through. You can see some older Race Tech, CP Carrillo, stuff like that. Some of these crankshafts are, the Dart CCW, Brian Crower CCW. These ones right here, those little China boxes are actually like a custom scat forging that's used for those 390 engines. And so we've got just so much going on here. I've designed a supercharger. And so I'm gonna be debuting an all new supercharger design. One of my things in getting here, I set a personal goal is to get this machine running. And so, I brought in a kid, he wanted to intern, but he turned out to be a, 4th year aerospace engineering student. And so, so one of the things that we did is we just had the flooring guy come in. So this is the engine assembly room. We just did like an epoxy floor. We're gonna redo all this, reface it. There's gonna be some stainless steel. A lot of the old stuff hanging, whether they're tools or supplies, that stuff's gonna disappear. And so the effort here is just to take it to the next level. You see here's some inventory. We keep a lot of bearings in stock to make sure. This is one of my customer engines. What's up, John? This is a Molnar Technology power adder combination. It's based in a Gen 3 6.0 block. It's a 398 cubic inch. And so instead of being your typical, 408, this has a 3.9 inch stroke by a 4.030. I mean, Martin, he's hoarding stuff here. These are all stories. Look at this big block right there. That thing made 1,100 horsepower on the dyno, naturally aspirated. It's got a big Pro Charger. Check this out. That's a 441 LSX, totally fresh, ready to go. High compression, good parts. That's a 900 horsepower LS1 with all Pro heads. It's a dart and sleeve block, aluminum rods, just compression through the roof. Martin had that for a race car, and he's never actually used it. There's a crate engine right there. That's a 363 cubic inch. We do a lot of stuff, but the organization's kind of out right now because everything's been pulled apart. We got the street art in here. The deal with the street art, the vision behind that is I thought about, the fact that CPR engines started out as a place where street racers used to come to hot rod their cars. And so, as far as I'm concerned, Martin and guys like Shirtless Chad, Pooh, whoever, a lot of these guys in SoCal, they made street racing popular. There was a Nat Geo special that came out here and featured these guys, and it actually generated a lot of interest, and that's what spurred the development of shows like, your popular Street Outlaws. And so street racing, as far as I'm concerned, is part of the heritage of custom performance racing. Custom performance racing engines started as custom performance racing. And so this was a shop primarily used to modify cars that actually went out there and raced in some of the most famous hot spots in Southern California and made it popular. And so I wanted to pay homage to the heritage of street racing with some street art, because as far as I'm concerned, when people say they're from the street, they're not talking about the 405, they're talking about Southern California. And so when people talk about real street racing, that's what originated here, just like a lot of stuff. And so I think Cali's kind of lost respect, in terms of having fast stuff out there. We have to deal with all that crazy emission stuff, but hey, we're bringing it back. We've got some really sick projects I want to show you, okay? Excuse the mess. I just, like I'm saying, like we are completely undergoing a massive transformation. And so everything's been pulled out, and we're doing a lot of stuff. I've been working on my foxbody. One of the things I've always wanted was in-house fabrication. And so I got it. Check this out. So this is, twin 76 millimeter modified GT42 94R turbos I sent to Forced Inductions. 2-inch primary tube, forward-facing headers, room to go in there and change your spark plugs. We're going to run normal coils, normal coil wires. We're finishing this up. So I got my badass fabricator here, Robert. The idea with this, man, is I've got Pro EFI, flex fuel. I've got traction control. I'm putting paddle shifters in there. I went and got some nice seats. I got a big-ass air-to-water intercooler and my homemade ice box that's totally regenerating itself. We're mini tubbing this. It's got all UPR suspension components with some Team Z coilover conversion in the back with their mini tub kit. And then if you want to know about the engine, that's ready to go too. I just finished assembling it myself with Martin, and this is a dream come true. So a lot of my dreams have been getting fulfilled by joining forces. And this right here is a Dart 406 cubic inch LS Next Pro half-inch head studs. The OG Frankenstein M311 heads, as they're called, they're Monster Series. Really good budget head. It's kind of like a copy of a Black Label masthead that gets re-CNC ported. Martin actually helped discover these and introduced them to Chris Frank at Frankenstein. These particular ones flow 400 CFM on the intake on our flow bench, over 270 on the exhaust. I put 2.20 inch rev valves with 1.60 Inconel exhaust valves, and we got pack springs, titanium retainers, a little more spring rate. Everything in this engine and everything in my transmission got cryogenic metal treatment. You could look at the Johnson lifters. Those are their axle oiled lifters, to kind of accommodate the higher spring rates. This is a turbo built engine. Molnar Technologies 3.9 inch stroke crankshaft. It's got my ported M311 pump. I'm going to put some restricted push rods in there so I don't pool oil on the top of the heads there. And then you look under here, you'll see the micro polishing. You'll see the Power Adder Plus rods up in here. And, Power Adder Plus rods, they tell me good for 2,000 horsepower. CP Carrillo pistons, heavy wall pins, and they're ceramic coated. 1/2 inch head studs, 7/16 inch main studs, and King racing bearings throughout, So this engine's ready. I mean, one of the things with my car is I've got all kinds of crazy shit going on with it. I mean, we're talking about, surge tank setup, staged, Pro EFI, mini tubbed, 16-gallon fuel cell, Dakota digital dash. The condenser setup goes under the back of the car. So this is going to be a showcase, man. I'm going to make this car so beautiful. I'm putting it on 18-inch three-piece forged wheels with drag radials in the back, like a 325, and then maybe 17s up front to totally conceal it. I've got this really big, fast intake over here. You can see my mufflers right there, complete 4-inch exhaust, but that intake right there, yeah, it's pretty big. And we're running it in reverse because the intercooler is actually in the car. And so that intake is going to sit backwards on the, on the engine, and the throttle body will be in the car. Now, the thing about it is it's so tall, and we've been getting these Frankenstein billet intakes that look so fucking sick. And so I'm thinking I might run the Frankenstein intake forward facing so I can retain the stock hood, The green, it's cool, but I'm thinking we're going to go with like a dark charcoal gray two-tone with the black. Go with those black wheels and just give it kind of a sleeper look, man. Dual 4-inch exhaust that goes through. And so that, for me with the turbo stuff, what you're going to see from me is I kind of direct the fabrication. I'm learning how to TIG weld, but I have very simple design parameters that, create a nice challenge. Like this one, I keeping the radiator in the stock position, wanted the plug access, needed the air filters to fit, needed 4-inch downpipes to accommodate these pretty big frame Garrett turbos. You got the stainless steel housings, 2-inch primary tubes, because that's what those Frankenstein heads require pretty much in order so that the tube kind of matches the outlet of the port. 3-inch cold side, put this little guy in there to help prevent cracks. We're hard mounting the turbos directly to the frame, and we fabricated our own solid engine mounts in there. It's an LS6 block that's just being used for the mock-up. But that's the idea, man. To make like something impractical, totally practical. I'm going to daily drive this car. The goal for this car is nothing less than having a 7-second daily driver. It's got 2,000 horsepower worth of engine and turbochargers and fuel system, comfortable seats. It's getting TCI paddle shifters that Pro EFI is going to integrate seamlessly. So I can do launch control right off the steering wheel. It's got a D3 trans brake in a built 4L80 that has 300M input and intermediate shafts. Kind of street-friendly Borg Warner frictions, which represent a little bit of an upgrade. And everything in the transmission's been cryogenic metal treatment. So as well as the engine and the rear end has also got that. And then check this out. You're going to be seeing this. This is a monster experiment. This is a fucking turbocharged, supercharged engine that my fabricator built. It's got he found that supercharger. It's an Edelbrock 2300. He found it on Craigslist or whatever. He already had this turbo setup already working. You can see, and this goes in a Silverado. He's putting all kinds of crap on here. AccuSump, filters right there. He's making it kind of complex, but that's just the way he is. He's a young guy and he wants to play and experiment, and I'm all for it. Then over here's some of our other shop cars. So we got a Pro Mod up there where I'm doing a custom LS-LT hybrid engine, big 98 millimeter turbo. We want to kick everyone's dick in out here on the West Coast with a car that has like a $10,000 engine combination. And then you come right here. This is going to be an NA King. That's a big tall deck RHS block. Got the LSR, heads that were massively ported. And then you got the CID intake right there. It's pretty much 1,000 horsepower, naturally aspirated 468 cubic inch engine in a lightweight foxbody. It's got a tube chassis. Pretty much like a 7-second setup in terms of the frame. Fuel cell up front, forward facing 2-inch headers, or maybe they're 2 1/8 or 2 1/4. That car is real close to being running. And so these are some of the things that when I came on board, it was like there were very specific goals that I set out to achieve that really just had to do with the layout and structure of the business. And I'm still, kind of operating, trying to get caught up on my own work, which was kind of affected by everything going on in my personal life and then with business and stuff. And so finishing this turbo truck right here, fuel system. This right here is going to be getting a TVS 1900 blower that we're completely maxing out. So I've got a new snout with a 102 inlet, pulled the whole blower apart, basically servicing it, putting all new O-rings and sealing it. And then this is the engine right here, mini stroker aluminum 5.3 CNC ported 799 heads with Manley valves. We got severe duty intake, extreme duty exhaust. We're doing a complete 8-rib conversion on it. I'm just penetrating oil to be able to break that off so I can get the new pulley on there. And then we're putting it right on the dyno, maxing out that TVS blower. And we were making some modifications to the blower, like, welding up these plates to the core, because when I took it apart, all the silicone that was supposed to seal that had been ingested by the engine. And so we also could probably use a tub spacer and also a blower spacer. The blower is kind of in rough shape. I was going to consider adapting the supercharger for a 2650 head unit that we're using for testing on my all new setup. And then over here in the corner, that's a Kong blown 408 iron engine with trick flow heads, head studs. Cali's Magnum 8-bolt crank, ultra I-beam rods, big ass custom cam, Johnson lifters, Rollmaster timing set. It's going to be a super sick engine where we've got some crazy pulley combinations. So we're going to max that thing out. And so, yeah, man, all the projects have been moving forward. A whole machine shop operation is being transformed as we speak. We're getting a new YouTube video guy that's going to be making my content and the shop content totally immaculate. So a lot of exciting stuff to stay tuned into. This is kind of the update. Things are kind of a mess, but look, man, I got my TV to watch Netflix and YouTube. We got all kind of cool projects that are going on. Including a freaking Pro Mod that we're going to be GoProing up. We've got another car in addition to this foxbody. So Martin has 3 real race cars. I've got my foxbody coming along perfectly, putting the cage in there. This car could be running in a matter of a few weeks, actually. It looks like it's got a long way to go, but it really doesn't. So, yeah, stay tuned.